Season 2 of the Pat and JT podcast.
Oh man, I'm here at last. The best time, always gonna be the best. Come on!
Exclusively on the Hurrdat Media Network.
All right.
Hey, starting off the podcast with just sad news.
Oh,
Bringing
dear.
it down at the very
Goodness.
beginning. But see, if we start low, we can only go high. Isn't that what Michelle Obama said? If they go low, if we start low, then we end high?
I said if they go low, we go high.
We go high, okay.
But if you start low, you have nowhere to go. But up.
Yes, unless you're not at your, what's it called when you are like an alcoholic and you hit the rock bottom? Yeah, unless you're not at rock bottom. I guess you can hit rock bottom then not be an alcoholic.
Or you could just,
have a bad day.
Oh, my God. Okay, anyway.
Awful that The Office, I heard, and I don't think this is breaking news, is leaving Netflix and going to Peacock. And Peacock, they just started really like pounding the promotion for Peacock. Apparently it's NBC's service.
Yeah.
So it's going to go to Peacock and you got to pay for it beyond. And
I didn't know they had a separate service.
I didn't know it was NBC until about a month ago, and I Googled it.
Sense, right?
Right. As soon as I saw it, I'm like,
But see, nobody talks about them anymore like that because, you know, how things have changed. The networks themselves or channels themselves, most people don't refer, you do maybe the news, ABC, NBC, CBS, like that way. But I think for a lot of people, you have apps, or if you have a service, you go to whatever channel to watch it. I have Roku, so I go to apps, and then like my Hulu.
There's no number.
Right.
It's just like you just scroll down like it's in alphabetical order.
Yeah. So it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So I'm kind of upset because that's my go-to. I get up in the morning and I don't watch The Office I just have it on. So because you've seen it a million times. It's just noise.
It's just like Little House on the Prairie.
Right. That's exactly right. And it's so much better than the news, because I used to have just the news on all the time, but it just got like an anchor on your back. So
it really is. And it's also just repeats.
Yeah.
It's just because they don't have, the 24-hour news cycle, they don't have, or they don't want to have enough to cover new stuff throughout the day. So it's like they constantly hammer the same stories and regurgitate the same stories over and over. And it's
you're good to watch it for 15 minutes and then you can be done, because the next 15 minutes are the same as before.
Like the Weather Channel, same way, unless they get into one of their, an offshoot and stories talking about hurricanes or talking about this or something like that. I used to watch the Weather Channel used to be kind of fun to have on.
I can't do that because that makes me feel like I'm like a grandpa.
It's not, well, it's either that or dog TV in my house. So
I'd rather watch dog. No, you don't, kid. That's the funny thing. I bet you don't, kid. But I love it because Beth has not watched a second of The Office. She has no interest. She's not even though it's not a traditional sitcom, she's not a watcher of those kind of shows, like half-hour comedy, whatever. She doesn't watch them. So I've used so many lines that Michael Scott and Dwight have used, and Beth thinks I'm the funniest person on the planet.
Exactly.
Completely. My whole comedy routine is written by the writers of The Office, and she just thinks I'm a hoot.
Can't wait till she figures this out.
That's why I'm never going to let her watch it.
She's like, fraud!
And now that
fraud! Don't you remember Kenny Chesney got married and that why they got divorced? She claimed fraud.
Well, that's not for comedy. That's for other fraudulent reasons, I believe.
Zellweger, right?
Yeah.
She filed fraud.
Yeah.
Like, everybody lost their mind. Yeah, that's what she's going to do. And everybody's going to wonder and say,
no, she won't.
Did he Kenny Chesney her?
She is very frugal, so she won't pay a dime for Peacock ever. So as soon as I hit the January 1st, my comedy routine is golden with her.
Oh,
I just can't do it on anybody
she'll never
else.
See it.
Right. So I just got to keep pushing her off. She won't watch it, so I'm fine. I'm good to go.
That's awesome. Kind of funny too. Yesterday for the first time I read some entertainment news. I just stayed away from everything because I'm trying to find something to watch on TV because production's been locked down, and you had some new things that have come out.
Have you noticed any new? Okay, so speaking of lockdown and productions being different, I've noticed one show that you can tell they've started producing it since lockdown and since quarantine is Dateline. Because if you notice now that they don't mention it at all. There's no masks. There's nothing. Yeah. But if you notice that when Keith Morrison does his interviews with people, they each have earpieces in, so they're like completely across the room from each other. So they can't. They're past 10 feet, but they have, even the guests do. He has a little earpiece so they can hear each other.
They don't make it look like they're far apart, do they?
Nope.
Okay.
It looks normal.
Good. I'll give them credit for that because that's the thing. I don't want this signaling that we're careful. Just do the show.
Right.
And take precautions. That's fine. Which is interesting because I saw a story yesterday about Tom Cruise, which I'm like off my radar. And he was. There's a recording that's out there. They're working on Mission Impossible 7, and they've got production up and running. But apparently, there's lots of F-bombs. I listened to it, but the audio. Who got it? The Sun. The Sun had the audio, and apparently they had worked out a deal so they could go back to work to do production. Which I get it. It's like I have mixed feelings about some of this because I'm glad he is, because that's a lot of people that were out of work. It's not just the actors that you see, right?
Right.
You know, it's all these other people that are providing food services, that are, you know, all the other people that were put out of work. And apparently they had pretty strict rules about what they could and couldn't do. It wasn't that somebody didn't have their masks on or something like that, but they were within, I think it's 10 feet is what they've required, not 6. And there were people that were too close together, and somebody, and I don't remember how it got pointed out, and I'm trying to find, if I can real quick, how somebody found out about it, but he has very strict guidelines, and they're filming in Britain on top of, so their standards are a little different.
Like looser or tighter?
Tighter. And said you can tell people who are losing their homes because our industry is shut down. It's not going to put food on the table or pay for their college education. That's what I sleep with every night, the future in this bleeping industry. So I'm sorry. I am beyond your apologies. I have told you, and now I want it. And if you don't do it, you're out. You're not shutting this bleeping movie down.
Good for him.
Understood. If I see it again, you're effing gone. And pointed out specific crew members in front of people. You're going to cost him his job. And he pointed out people in particular. Am I clear? Do you understand what I want?
Whoa.
Do you understand the responsibility I have? Because I will deal with your reason. And if you can't be reasonable, I can't deal with your logic. You're fired.
Good for him. I'm kind of on Team Tom on this one.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, it is. It's kind of weird because it was recently hit with delays back in October. 12 people on the set in Italy tested positive. So they're like traveling the world while they're trying to get this thing done.
Right. That puts a little kink in it. Makes it a little more difficult.
That's the problem, is that's where some people are kind of looking at it sideways, because they're like, well, okay, so he's filming his movie. Mm-hmm. Costco's open, and they can't open their restaurant.
Yeah. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
And I don't want to shut them down, because I don't want to say, no, you can't be open. I want to say, then they should be open.
Yeah.
They're doing what they can. They're doing what they should. It's funny. Somebody, I saw one of the posts about this, said, like surprised. I'm kind of I'm on Tom's side. Mm-hmm. How can he not see through Scientology?
Right. As Xenon or whatever.
Right?
Xenon.
It's like it's on one side totally logical, and on the other side that makes no sense. But doesn't matter.
And it's kind of like Scott Frost. Like Scott Frost just wanted to play football, not because he needed a paycheck. It's because the concession workers, it's the kids he promised that could play. It's not about football. This isn't about completing a piece of art, a movie project. It's about feeding the families of the crew members and the craft services and the economy of the cities that they're filming in. And I'm usually not on Team Tom, but I'm on Team Tom.
I think he's got his priorities straight.
Yep.
He's trying to make this work. So ultimately it will pay off because they're going to get the movie made. But in the meantime, a lot of people have a paycheck.
Yep. And if they don't, like he said, he was a little more colorful when he said it.
So.
But if you're not on my team, if you don't feel comfortable, if you're gonna complain about this, then you're out. I'm gonna get people in here that are willing to stay the 10 feet, whatever they're
their
doing.
Rules are.
Yeah, then that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's cool. They get an option to go, and they can go and do whatever.
You can work here. It's free will.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
You can work here if you want to, but this is how we're gonna do it.
Yep.
And like it or
and we're doing it.
And so we're doing it. So I thought that was kind of interesting, because I hadn't picked up an article or checked out an article from an entertainment source in so long.
Forever.
Yeah.
What's is it Young and the Restless that's still on? Is that
I think it is.
That's what, Beth doesn't watch it except on like Saturdays. She'll catch up from the week.
Victor and Jill.
Yes.
And
And so you can tell they use camera angles and stuff. The people are 6 feet apart. There's a lot of scenes that are someone's crying on the other side of the door, like conversations. And there's one character that her husband in the show what, like, her husband in the show was off for a few episodes, and they just blatantly brought in her husband from real life to do some sex scenes. And like, even in like speaking, it's like, that's not her husband that was from last week.
I'll tell you what though,
it's
that's
funny.
the thing I always loved about soap operas. They took a lot of liberties. Like if somebody was out and it would say, the part of so-and-so is being played by so-and-so, and you're just supposed to, okay.
Right. And nobody like, whatever.
I don't care. Just keep rolling this stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're all equally as hot. And it's like,
Yeah. It didn't matter. It was no big deal. Just, okay. Or has now been replaced by so-and-so.
Right.
Okay, now she's a brunette. Okay, I just got to remember.
She's a lot taller.
Yeah.
What accent does he have? Is this rich guy accent?
Yeah, I think it is. Let me look it up.
Because the other day,
I'll look up where Victor's from.
She
What's
doesn't
Victor's
think
last name? I can't
Victor
remember.
Kyriakis.
Oh, nice. He's Greek.
Yeah, Greek. Oh, that would make sense. But it's not. But it's not. It's not like overtly Greek. It's like it's more rich than Greek.
Young and the Restless. Let me look here.
I think it's Victor Kyriakis anyway.
We'll see.
Because they have their company is Jabot.
Jabot. J-A-B-O-T.
Yeah, it's not like the jeans. It's different.
It's Jabot.
Yeah.
Victor Newman.
Oh, Newman. What's Kyriakis? He must have been. No, Victor Kyriakis was from Days of Our Lives, I believe. Then.
Okay.
Because that's with Hope and Patch or whatever.
He's German-born Victor Newman. So let's see, where's the bio on Victor Newman? I always like when you get into the fandom Wikipedias. Those are fun because then it has the whole backstory of the character that they're playing.
Yeah.
So his name Victor Newman. So I'm gonna look up Victor Newman real quick because he lives in some people's world.
That is not how you spell Kyriakis.
This is fun. Okay, so Victor Newman, there he is. Victor Newman is a young. Let's see, has been portrayed. Okay, so give me the rest of his. Where's the background?
And he's Victor. Yeah, his name's John Aniston. Jen Aniston's dad. That's right, Victor.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yep,
I knew that.
Victor
Okay.
Kyriakis.
What
it's
show
a
is he
K.
on?
Days of Our Lives. He was.
All right.
Is he dead?
I think
Nope, he's not dead.
I don't know.
At least not according to Wikipedia.
Okay.
He's 83 years old.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well,
And he
good
is
deal.
Greek, so you were right about that
I was
one.
right about that part.
Yep.
I don't know about Victor Newman. It says Victor Newman. What's his background? I don't know. It doesn't really have it in here. Why not? Why don't we have his background? Storyline, reception, legacy. Yeah, whatever.
I didn't know Jennifer Aniston had a son. Or a brother.
Okay, Victor Newman
Okay.
was born Christian Miller on March 7th, 1947 in Buffalo, New York. This is the character. He was put in an orphanage by his mother, Cora, when he was 7 years old, and his father, Albert. By the time he was a teenager, he left the orphanage and started to work his way to become one of the world's wealthiest tycoons. Changed his name to Victor Christian Newman. Victor standing for victorious.
Of course.
And Newman standing for new man.
Oh my gosh.
And then he married Julia Newman. Well, the character, whatever. And that was from 80s to, he's been playing that since 1980. Yeah, so Victor Newman.
Yeah, Victor Kyriakis.
I'm going to guess that
1985 was when his character started too. So Victor.
Victor Newman, I'm going to say then, is his rich man accent.
Yeah, it is.
That's what it is.
It's very snooty and talk downy.
He recreated himself completely.
Yeah, he
I
talks
love
down
reading
to
those fandom backgrounds on characters. Mm-hmm. It gives you a little more depth when you're watching the show because you know more about him. But yeah, I love watching
He
soap
loves to
operas.
give you more depth when
It
you're
does.
watching. Those shows have as much depth as a zero entry pool.
Do you remember, I was watching General Hospital when Kelly Ripa was on there, and she met her husband, Mark Consuelos, and they were like boyfriend, girlfriend on the show when she first came. When she first came on the show, she was goth, total goth.
I've seen pictures of
the
her.
Granddaughter, right? And she's a wild child and all that stuff. And but it's introducing new characters is always hard because I like the way things are. I don't like change.
It's like we talked about yesterday with stupid app changes. Like I liked Facebook the way it was.
Leave it like it was. I like the beta. I don't want that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think I had that choice in Outlook recently too.
Yes.
Where you could change over to the new version.
I did change because I like the other one was confusing to me.
I'm mad right now because I have a symbol on my email that says I have 3 unopened emails and I can't find them.
It's like in a string. I've been down that road before where I went down every single one and you click on it, then it opens up all the emails and it's like one reply that was when people are firing emails back.
Yeah.
It's
Why
like
can't
one.
I just find that tab that says show me all the unread emails?
Oh, you should.
I can't find it.
Is that in the new? Because in the old
old
version
had
you
it.
can. Not in the new.
Can't find it.
Screw the new.
It says 3 and it's just hanging there.
And that's the name of our podcast. Screw the new. By the way.
So there we go.
All right, so that was fun.
Anyway.
There we go. Who knew we'd be talking about Victor Kiriakis on today's podcast?
And Victorious New Man.
Victorious New Man.
Boom.
Oh, my God. It's Pat and JT on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we'll get to some of your texts and emails soon. It's Pat and JT. Or actually, it's 402-403-9478.
Pat and JT Podcast, a Hurrdat Media Production.